In this video, I'm going to show you how to use ChatGPT to make things. ChatGPT has been evolving and changing for the last few years, and if you haven't used it in a while, or if you've only used ChatGPT through a browser, you're missing out on 99% of its capabilities. Now, personally, I love ChatGPT. I use it every single day, whether that's for work or for fun, and I've taught so many of my friends how to use it that I decided it's time for me to sit down and make this video. Because if you watch this video from beginning to end, you could go from never having used ChatGPT to being ready to make whatever you want. So first, to get us on the same page, do not go to chatgpt.com. Instead, go to openai.com, go to products, and click Codex. This download button right here is going to get you to the app that you need to follow along with this video. And I think that you seriously should, because actively typing in the prompts with me or experimenting yourself is going to help you learn so much better. But I've got a plan in this video. First, we're going to talk about the UI so you know exactly what you're doing. Then we're going to actually make a website. And then number 3, I'm going to give you a foundational knowledge of how to use skills inside of Codex. It's a huge unlock. And by the way, this is a brand new YouTube channel. So when you click the subscribe button, I'm going to care more than anyone else. And in fact, I even rigged up this number here to go up when you click. Oh, thank you. Now, once we're in the ChatGPT app, you'll notice that a lot of it looks just like the browser. You have your old threads on the left, and you've got your chat window in the middle. There's a chat toggle up top. Then there's a work toggle that makes the chat window have a little bit more extensions and widgets. I want you to go to the top left and toggle ChatGPT into another mode, which is currently called Codex. This is the mode of this app that I want to be using in order to do whatever I want. Down in the bottom right, there is a model selector. You've got a whole bunch of selectors in this window down here that lets you choose how hard you want AI to think about its answer before giving it to you. It's kind of as easy as saying the higher they are on the list here, the better they are. Sol is the best, Terra is the second best, and Luna is the third best. But really, that also just means it's cheaper. So if you're doing simplistic prompts, a quick question here, or like write me an essay there, use Luna for that. I suggest you should just click Luna right now, change your effort to high instead of extra high. And this is kind of the default mode that you should use while you're still figuring out when's the best time that I should switch to a stronger model. There's another selector down here called speed. You can either be in standard speed or fast. And yeah, fast says that it's 1.5 times faster, but it uses more usage. Usage is another word I'm going to have to show you. But to keep it simple for now, just never toggle this away from standard. It just makes your prompts way more expensive for you. But I just mentioned usage, so I want to show you usage in the bottom left corner here. Click your profile name. It'll open up a couple of sections and it'll show you how much usage is left for you in the week. Now, this is honestly a dizzying approach on how they do these things. You pay a monthly subscription and they give you a weekly allotment of tokens. It's confusing, but you'll get a hang of it pretty soon. As you prompt ChatGPT, it might be a good idea to sometimes go down here, click into your usage, and notice, am I using my weekly quota too much or too fast? And if you are, try switching your model down to an even cheaper one. Change the effort to medium or light from time to time, and that might help you out. One handy way that I like to think about usage is you get a weekly allotment of 100%. So if you take 100, divide it by 7 days in a week, that comes out to about 14% a day. So as you go throughout the week, if you notice that you're using more or less than 14% of your usage a day, then that might be a clue for you on if you should spend a little bit more effort on your prompts by just changing that model, or if you should hold back. There's this orange text on my screen called full access. On your screen, by default, it'll say ask for approval. I think you should leave it on ask for approval while you start using ChatGPT. In fact, I'll change mine to that right now. This is the safe mode. But as you use it more and more, you might realize that it plays it a little too safe. ChatGPT might try to make a file in your folder and think that that's against the rules, and it'll ask for your permission first. I found myself constantly just saying, yes, yes, approve, approve, until I got annoyed enough that I now just let it do whatever it wants. It has not worked out poorly for me yet, so let's hope that continues. One last thing in this bubble is this bottom left plus sign. This is a really important button to use if you want to add context to your prompt, which context is the magic word in this game. This is how we avoid generic slop output. If you want it to write an email for you, you can provide it emails that are written in your voice. If you want it to make a website or a game that has a particular aesthetic, you can upload design principle files that you've made yourself. Context is what really matters here, because if you give a generic prompt with no extra context, you'll get a generic result every time. And we want to avoid that. AI is a really, really powerful tool to be able to make creative and purposeful things. It's kind of pointless to use it to make generic slop, because what's the point? It doesn't help you stand out anyway. Now there's one major piece left that I want to make sure you know about. It's called projects. And this is the last step that we need in order to have an organized system in which to prompt inside of. A project is pretty easily thought of as just a literal folder on your computer, and you can totally do it this way. I don't know what setup you have on your computer, so in this video, I'm gonna put a new project on my desktop for us to work in. In order to make a new project, there's a couple of different ways you can go about it. You can do new project and either start from scratch or use an existing folder, or you can mouse over the projects button over here and there's a plus button right there to do the same thing. Start from scratch or use an existing folder. Starting from scratch is okay, and it really takes all the brain power out of anything because you can just start prompting immediately. But if you want to know where your folder is, I suggest using an existing folder. And that literally means that you need to go make it right now where you want it to be. So I'm gonna go to my desktop in order to make that happen. First website. I made my folder on my desktop. It's called First Website. I'm gonna click Choose Project, New Project, and Use Existing Folder. Then I'm gonna go over to Desktop and click into First Website. We're at the second part of the video in which we actually make a website. Now this part is so cool because the amount of value that this has that you can see is so crazy. How about we pretend that we're a photographer and we want to make a portfolio website? Now, if you're not used to prompting AI all the time like me, you'll get more and more comfortable the more you do it. So if you're watching along and using ChatGPT yourself, you should start prompting it right now. But I'll show you how I would prompt if I were a pretend photographer. First off, I like to dictate all of my prompts, and I don't mind if it gets a bunch of words wrong. I just keep on talking. We're literally working with a very sophisticated language model. It's so good at understanding what I want. So I'm gonna start this prompt by clicking the microphone and just seeing what happens. Please make me a website. I'm a photographer, and I want it to display my best 3 pictures in a really prominent place at the top of the website. I want to have a section where I can sell prints of some of my portfolio pieces. And then I want a section that is a little bit interactive, where, I don't know, like if I mouse over pieces of my other portfolio pieces, they'll react, or I can click and see them blown up or bigger. I also want you to write a blurb, a description of each shot in my portfolio. Give a fake date of when it was shot, a fake description of where it was shot, and a little tiny, very, very simple and short description of why it's a good shot and why I like it. I think that there should be buttons at the top that has an about section about me, so you need to know who I am if you're going to make this website. So I'm Brian, and this is all pretend, by the way, but you should use this information for your website. I was born and raised in Oklahoma, and I've always loved photography. Sunsets are my greatest inspiration. I really love a farm aesthetic, or bridges. Oh my gosh, every photographer loves bridges. So have a nice about section about me, have a picture of me on the side, like a portrait piece, and have a contact me button at the below my my blurb about myself, have like a book button on the top right so that people can just book me for an event. Have a page about the equipment that I use, which is a bunch of cool cameras. I don't know, you can just make it up yourself. And make sure that this entire website has like this unique flair. Let's use like a cream light colored background. Perhaps some like lightly gradient swooshing shapes. And I just want it to look very tight and professional. I'm actually gonna stop the prompt right now. Notice that I was okay with talking for minutes at a time as I just sat and thought about what else I wanted on the website. And well, there it is. I'm not even gonna read this because I'm just gonna assume that it is accurate enough. And even though I sometimes talked to you, I sometimes talked to a friend on the side here, I don't care that it's in there. This is exactly what it needs in order to make this website, and it'll be totally fine. I'm gonna press enter to let it start building this website. I'm gonna predict that this is gonna take about 6 minutes or so to do. But in the meantime, I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute, I actually don't have any pictures because I'm not a photographer. So I'm gonna try to take care of that right now. Now, it's kind of fun to watch it build the website. It'll chat, it'll talk about the things that it's doing, but you do not have to watch this at all. Just for the heck of it, I'm gonna check out what it's saying here. I'm using the sites building skill to shape this into a polished, responsive photographer portfolio, plus the image generation skill for original placeholder photography assets so the page feels complete without relying on stock image URLs. Now this is really cool. I didn't even give it any pictures. If I were working with a website designer, this would kind of be a no-go at this point. They would say, well, I can't make the website if I don't have any pictures to make it with. What are you talking about? The ChatGPT app is just this go-getter. It constantly is solving problems that a lot of humans would just say, well, I haven't been given the tools to finish. So in this instance, this website is going to end up with a whole bunch of random pictures. In the meantime, I think I want to use ChatGPT in another task in order to make what we need. This is actually a really great opportunity. While this website is building, I'm going to go over to this project and I'm going to click on this pencil and paper icon. And this starts a new thread within the project. It's okay to kick off multiple threads and have multiple things working at once. In fact, that's a power play. You should be doing this. You can't just sit here and wait for every agent to get all the way done because a lot of these prompts take minutes at a time to complete. So on this one, I want to give it a picture of myself. So I better go find the most embarrassing picture of myself on Facebook. Okay, I definitely have one. Here's a picture of me. Use that on my bio page as the photographer bio shot. But I'm looking a little bit silly in it. So use image generation in order to change it so I look more serious and professional. That's another task that's getting kicked off. I'm gonna think of a third one. Help, I'm in major trouble. I told everybody that I was a photographer and I don't have any pictures. I told everybody that I love a farm aesthetic and bridges, so you need to help me out of a bind here. I need to have a sizable amount of pictures that look like they were actually taken on a fancy camera. Do a few in different settings, like some have sepia or some have, I don't know, like go crazy on the contrast or something. Like some fancy photographer stuff. But I want 40 images that look like I took them. Some of them can have people, some of them can have farm animals or like architecture of like a barn or something or a forest. I need 40 images that look beautiful and are high res, and I want you to save them in this folder so that we can use them on the website. And I'll just send that one off too. At this point, I've done enough. This is just a tutorial, so I'm gonna let this sit. And once all these agents are done, I'm gonna come back and show you how long they took, and I'm gonna show you the results in 1 second. All right, so some time has passed and it's done some work for us. You'll notice that one of these tasks are still spinning, the generate 40 farm style photos. I've noticed that generating images inside of this app takes kind of a while, but at the end of the day, it's making a lot of them at once, so that's fine. It's been working for 26 minutes so far, so we'll see when that gets done. But when it comes to making the website itself, it took 19 minutes. That's more than I expected. But I do have a secret theory that sometimes AI just goes slower some days than others. On this page, yikes, this took 14 minutes to regenerate this image apparently and also apply it to the website. But I already can tell that this picture is not what I want. So I'm gonna prompt to fix this, and then we'll look at the website right now. This image gen doesn't look like me, so you have to go back to my face and be way more stringent on what the face looks like. There were no magic words in that prompt by any means, but I'm gonna give it one more chance to do this, and if it fails again, I'm gonna use a stronger model. All right, so while that's working on that, let's actually go over to the website. This thread is where I prompted the website originally, and you'll notice a lot of the thoughts that it had are gone. You can get them back by clicking on the worked for 19 minutes part, but it gives you a nice summary of what it worked on instead. So your photography portfolio is live. This is a blue link, so I can press this and see a preview of what the website looks like. Now this is interesting. ChatGPT has this new Sites feature. This is pretty much brand new as of this week. Okay, cool. So it's opened the website entirely on my computer. I can see the vibe and flavor of what this would look like. Right now, I'm not impressed, by the way. This is a very first prompt, and some things that I'm noticing are, I think that the text up here is a little bit too small to read. There's too much blank space in a few areas. I don't know why it's going with 01 to 03. Maybe that's like a artistic kind of choice here. But yeah, it's a lot of fonts that are too small. And also this exact structure of black font on top, colored font on bottom, this is AI slop right here. I'm gonna stop looking at the website and I'm just gonna go back and try to ask ChatGPT to fix this before I review it again. I'm looking at the website and there's a lot of things that I don't like about it. I don't like the fonts. I think you need to completely redesign the top of the website. I asked for 3 of my images to be extremely presented and pronounced at the top. Entirely get rid of this light left behind font structure and don't reuse that anywhere. And make sure that no fonts are too small to see. There's a lot of fonts that are too small. Make sure that in this final design, there's no giant empty spaces on this website either. I appreciate minimalism, but this didn't work this time. You don't have to be overly prescriptive or even know what you want to a huge degree. Yeah, this is really how I prompt. I'm gonna let that spin for a while and I'll show you what the results are in a sec. And the task where I asked for 40 pictures of portfolio pieces to be added, which, okay, yeah. Apparently I like to take pictures of horses and sheep. Okay, it's kind of nailing everything. I like all these. Oh, and I said I love bridges. I might actually love bridges. Now that this one got done, I'm reading the words and it said skipped wiring them into the website. So I'm just gonna say, put them on the website. All right, ChatGPT just got done again. It took 20 minutes, so honestly, this is not normal. I truly expected each of these to take about 4 minutes. I think that we're going to find out something that's going on at OpenAI at the end of this, but this took 20 minutes. We can now look at the website. We've got half my name up here in the top left corner. We still have text that is too small. And you're going to have to get used to the game of working with ChatGPT. Not reading a line of code comes at the cost of sometimes you have to re-prompt to get what you actually want. We've got roughly what I'm looking for, a top ribbon with links to what I described. I want to look at the About section right now. I know that it failed to give me a picture that looks like me once again. Okay, yeah, it looks like me, right? But I am going to give this one more prompt here. Sunsets, structures, the long view. This is one of my least favorite things about AI. This is slop. AI loves to give you little lists of things, and we're gonna see Just kind of the style everywhere. Okay, cool. October 18th, 2024, near Medicine Park, Oklahoma. It's got the title of the picture and a little description. Yeah, so I'm just kind of tracking in my mind, what do I like and what do I not like? Headers and descriptions. I would love this to be a little bit more about the pictures, but if I scroll down, we got a lot of empty space here again. Here's another AI slop structure. It loves to make like a box, box, box kind of style. Shot notes from home. See, I'm dunking on this like crazy because I would never ship this. I would never use this as my photography website. But honestly, if you're trying to use AI to get business and get work done, technically you could use this website just fine. You could use this to send to clients. They could book you to places. It's fine. Like, maybe you're a busy person and you've never gotten around to making a website and you want to see what this is all about. Do it this way for real. Over time, if you go to your website often enough and you notice, you know what? This doesn't really speak to me. This is not my style right here. Just send another prompt and walk away from the computer. You'll come back to a fresh website that's a little bit more toward your taste. You can do this over and over and over again. Imagine what this website would look like if I used it for a whole night, if I prompted it for a whole night. Imagine what this website would look like if I prompted it for a week, if I took a whole bunch of jobs and I kept on iterating on it, like 1 or 2 prompts a night for an entire month. You'd actually come to a website that you love. And that's the beauty with working with ChatGPT to make anything that you want. Oh, by the way, I'm selling prints of these for $220. Cool, cool. And if I click on this, yeah, sometimes you have to find AI's mistakes. ChatGPT doesn't have eyes, it's going to make silly mistakes like this sometimes. It's making orange text on an orange background. So like a human would never make this mistake, but ChatGPT did. Let's make something last. If you notice a mistake, just tell it and it'll fix it. Overall, not bad. I just want to check if this book a shot button works. Okay, cool, and it goes down here with a fake email address there, of course. This is the first little chapter in making something. I didn't even know that I was going to be making a photography website this morning when I woke up. From idea to having this, technically it took about 40 minutes tonight, but usually this should take something like 10 minutes. Hopefully this is inspiring when you think about the implications, because you don't have to just make a website. You can make a game, you can make a blog, you can make all kinds of different interactive elements on some kind of story piece website that is interactive and unique. You can make so much stuff. You saw me just speak this into existence. You don't have to read code to make things anymore. This would take days to do by hand, and it would take months to learn how to code from scratch. This is a massive unlock, and I love it. Now, for the final part of this video, I promised that I would teach you about skills. They are such a level up for someone who doesn't use them. So I want to take you back to new chat, and even if we go back to new chat, it's still defaulting us to being inside of the first website project. So to exit that, just hover this name and then click the X. Now we're just in a generic chat. When I think about skills, I like to call them macros. So in the same way that I could program a button on my keyboard to perform a set of instructions, like if I press the 7 on my number pad, it opens up 2 browser windows, one's my Facebook, one's my YouTube. You can do that and be very mechanical, but skills are like this amazing smart version of macros. Here's how they'll intersect with your workflow. If you find yourself constantly typing the same style of prompt over and over again. Let's say that you have made a number of websites and you're so annoyed that every time you don't specifically specify the way that you would like your websites laid out, that it keeps on spitting out a bunch of slop style websites at you. If you type the style of your website and you say, okay, I want minimalistic design, I want flat graphics, I want there to not be a whole lot of space, I want to ban the use of like the 3-box style, and you should never use an M dash, and there's so many things that you could say. But if this is true for you and you keep on doing the same style of things, after you make a website, type this into the box below. Check it out. It says, take all of my instructions concerning the style of this website and turn it into a skill. And because this applies to websites, I'm actually going to copy and paste this and go back into the first website project. I'm actually going to run this and see what I get from it. So the thing is that now that this is a skill, which I'm going to learn what the name is pretty soon because Codex is going to tell me what it is, every time I make a website, I'm going to be able to invoke this skill. All right, it worked for 11 minutes and it made me a skill. It captures the palette, typography, layout, photography treatment, responsive rules, interaction patterns, and editorial voice. Now I'm noticing that this list includes some things that aren't applicable to every website that I'm going to make. So I typed down here, remove the palette instructions and remove the photography treatment from this skill, because not every website's about photography. And then I'm going to tell it to name this skill style website. I'm really confident that this would work. But if I were to start a new website and I typed exactly what I want, here are the features, here's the feel that I want, and then I just type /style website, it's going to give me a website that is far more likely to be something that I can use fresh out of the box. Something that doesn't annoy me, something that doesn't have all those slop features that I pointed out earlier. And this is the cheat code about ChatGPT. The more you use it, the more it learns from you, the more you teach it about yourself, the more you can optimize it to give you stuff that you love right away as fast as possible. One of the coolest things about skills is that you can share skills with other people. And some people are very good at making skills that apply to everyone. This skill that we made here applies just to me. It's in my taste, it's in my style, and so therefore I'm not going to share it with anybody. But I want to show you a skill that you should take and a lot of people can use. It's one of the most famous skills that there is. If you're not used to the GitHub website, don't worry about it. You don't need to learn it. The reason that I bring it up is because this particular skill is hosted on GitHub. Watch how easy this is to install. There are some instructions on how to install it down here. That's not what I like to do. I like to go up to the URL, copy it, go into a new chat, get out of this project. Just go into a fresh chat. It recognized what it was and put it in blue text here, and I'm just gonna write install this. And I'm going to kick off an agent to do that. The reason why Humanizer is such a cool skill is because it is an anti-slop skill. If you've been on the internet, like me for the past couple of years, there is an increasing amount of annoying slop writers. People are blatantly copy and pasting what ChatGPT tells them. Lists of 3 things. Not this, but that. M dashes all over the place. The Humanizer skill is uniquely cool because it tracks a special Wikipedia page that lists every aspect of AI writing. And so if you ask ChatGPT to write something for you, you can just type /humanizer with it and it'll come out feeling so much more human. It will not be perfect. So please, I'm not encouraging you to use ChatGPT to write for you. You can use it to brainstorm or something like that and just feel a little bit less rage because it feels a little less AI written, but this is such a good skill for this. And so in case you haven't noticed, I care a lot about when something is put out into the world and it just clearly was made by AI. I call this slop. So I like the Humanizer skill for fixing people's text. It doesn't go all the way, it helps a little bit. But my big thing is when websites and games look like they were just made by AI without any human intervention. I get so annoyed with it. So if you're making a website and you're not sure what looks like AI or not, I made an entire video about AI slop and how to avoid it. Click it here.